I grew up in Fairfax City. We lived there forever. My parents managed apartment buildings. I didn't go to church. My parents dropped us off on Sundays. I guess it was to give them a break. I don't know. My parents fought a lot. My parents were alcoholics, like liquor alcoholics. And then we moved. We actually moved out of the apartments because my parents separated. There was no visit, we go every other weekend to Dad. I had to beg to go to Dad's house. My mom bought a townhouse, and then she got sick, and they took a kidney, and then they found out she had it in her bone marrow in her leg, and then she got a tumor on her head that you could actually see, and she died in the house, in her room. I became the caregiver. I became the adult. I cooked, I cleaned, I went grocery shopping.
Yeah, and so that led to you meeting Richard.
Richard, yeah.
And getting pregnant.
I dropped out of school. I got my GED, but that was just because I did it for my dad.
How old was Christopher when Richard left?
6 months. He did not want to be a dad. So he was taking my car and going and partying with friends, taking the car seat and throwing it in the trunk and driving girls around and doing things. And he was, while I was home taking care of a baby.
Yeah, as a teenager.
As a teenager, yeah. I just wanted to be loved unconditionally. I was never good enough for my mom. Never good enough anywhere. I just wanted someone to love me forever. And that baby loved me forever and wouldn't leave me. So I was very excited about it.
Yeah.
I wanted him so badly. I needed him so badly.
Fast forward about a year and a half, and you meet Dad.
But then we started hanging out, and before we knew it, I got my first apartment, subsidized, because I was poor and single parent, and then I got pregnant again.
So then you have me, obviously the best of all the children.
Yes.
A few years later, Jennifer's born. You have 3 kids.
Oh, I went from being raised by alcoholics to marrying an alcoholic, but it was beer. Every holiday was hard. There was a lot of drinking. I just wanted to keep my family together, so I never even thought about divorce because, first of all, I couldn't financially take care of my children by myself. It was just, that was the way life was, and we just kind of make the best of it.
Eventually, Alyssa's born 8 years after Jennifer, and so eventually the Murrays invite us to church. I've told my perspective on that story, but what was that like for you to be invited and then eventually say yes?
It was very uncomfortable because Sundays were our only day to sleep in. Get up early. I have no nice clothes. I can't go to church, the church that I knew what church was. We became friends with them, and so I knew that life was hard for them, but they had this joy that I wanted.
Yeah.
I'd never felt, and I thought, why not? And maybe they'll just stop bugging me. So we went. It was amazing. There was normal people there. No one was dressed up, no one was, they all looked like me. And there was this band on stage, a band with drums, guitars, all that stuff. And there's this long blonde-haired dude playing the guitar and singing. And I was like, what is this? But when they started singing and playing, for the first time in my entire life, I felt this love, this peace, this weird feeling I have never felt, ever. And I couldn't stop crying. I don't even know what the message was about at all, but I knew that I needed this. We went to group together, we went to couples groups.
the way I tell the story is like we just started going.
Started serving.
Yeah.
Because we are servers. That's just our nature. We're from the beginning, before even church. We always help people. We always, And then we got baptized, which I was hoping that maybe I would never cuss again, and I would never have any bad thoughts again, and I would just be this pure little angel and be able to just,
Yeah.
And that didn't happen. Everything fell apart. Everything came to light. Sure. Everything that was in the darkness that I wasn't seeing all came to light, and everything just exploded.
What was the first kind of sign of that?
He wasn't coming home at night because he started doing whatever he wanted to do, and I didn't know what to do. We were fighting before church, so we started going separately. Everything that was going on, what he was doing, what was going on, I just needed to know, and it consumed me, and he wouldn't tell me anything. He would always plead the fifth. So someone told me, just call on Jesus every time you get in that headspace where you just can't stop thinking about it. So that's what I did. I was like, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. I can't do this by myself. I can't. This is beyond what I can do, and I don't understand, and I don't know what to do.
It would have been really easy at this point to give up, because ultimately you're back where you were pre-Jesus. So why didn't you give up?
Because when your husband cheats on you and leaves you for a 25-year-old, you wonder, what's wrong with me? Am I good? Am I good enough? I wasn't good enough for him, but I was good enough for God. And he just kept picking me up every day and letting me know, we can do this. And I also didn't want to screw up my kids any more than I already had, which I didn't really realize I had done.
Sure.
But I wanted to make sure that they had food and they had their mom, although I was not mentally there. I was physically there, but emotionally and mentally, I was not, because I was so consumed with still, what was he doing? Who is he with? What's going on? I just wanted my family back. I was even willing to take a crappy family over no family. My prayer was, bring my husband home, heal my marriage. And and then he had children with someone else. And that broke my heart. It broke my heart.
Yeah, and one of the things that you've talked about, one of the things that in your story is this pursuit of being loved. But one of the things that you shared with me was in that you started to realize where love really came from.
Because I started seeing things. Things started changing, and not like that. It came in jobs. It came in people. People came into my life that blessed us. He's taking care of my children. Things could have turned out completely different. You wouldn't have gone to college.
Sure.
Christopher was already in the military. So many things were out of my control. I couldn't make anything happen or not happen. So I relied on God.
And we go to start a church in Frederick, which is close, which was nice for you. You just wanted us to be close there.
I was so humbled by the fact that a sinner like me with so much garbage and such a mess, that he would use my child, to reach people and to talk about him. That was like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. God has given you this great gift, and he's given me this great gift that I did not deserve. I did not deserve it. But he loves me just the way I am, and all my mess, and all my ugly, and all my terrible, terrible stuff. And I don't want to live without that, because I couldn't.
So if there was like one thing that you could say to someone who's going through what you're going through, or at least kind of experiencing some of the highs and lows that you've experienced in your life, What would you say to them? What would you want them to hear?
Don't give up, because he's got your back. You'll get through that season, and there'll be another season around the corner.
Always.
There will be, but you will be stronger for it, and you'll be able to handle it better. And you will take that time to know that, look, I have no control in this situation, but God does.
A few months into Collective launching, it was actually, I think it was like the first Easter, you're serving in Collective Kids. Dad is also serving in Collective Kids. Jennifer and Alyssa are serving in Collective Kids, and Dad brought Jacob and Michaela, his 2 kids from the relationship that came out of the divorce, my half-siblings, and you guys were literally all serving back in the cafeteria together that Easter. How does that happen? How do you get to that place? All the tension, all the weirdness of it can set that aside to serve kids.
God's grace. If I can show them the love of Christ by inviting them to dinner and celebrating their birthday and throwing a graduation party for Michaela to let her know that we love her, we could not do this without the love that he fills our heart with and the grace that he shows us. Yeah, we have to show that to other people and share that with the people we love and care for, because he does it for us every day. How could I not?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.